parents, John and Emily, smiled as they looked at their children, 6-year-old Timmy and 8-year-old Maggie. They were a source of endless joy and happiness for them. The family's life was filled with love and understanding. They were awaiting the long-awaited move to their own house in a very picturesque location on the edge of a lake and forest. Their dreams of a peaceful and cozy environment where the children could grow and play outdoors were coming true right before their eyes as they approached the location of their new acquisition. The house was magnificent. A beautiful wooden structure with spacious rooms and large windows that let in rays of sunshine, illuminating the entire setting with warm light. The whole family eagerly began unpacking meadow deep within the forest, not far from their home. The spring sun was shining, and birds were singing. A gentle breeze was blowing. In an instant, something changed. The previously lively sounds of birds and other forest noises fell silent. In the sudden stillness, they heard shuffling footsteps on the other side of the meadow. Fear drove them to run back home in a panic. Timmy glanced back and caught sight of a sinister silhouette standing at the edge of the meadow. Tangled white hair, tattered rags covering the figure's body. It leaned on a tall stick, a staff. The last thing Timmy remembered was the figure's crooked finger pointing in their direction. The children were impressed by their encounter with the mysterious figure until evening. Maggie didn't utter a word and secluded herself in her room house in darkness and terror. Timmy lay in his bed, unable to fall asleep. The events of the past day filled him with anxiety and fear. The darkness consumed everything around, like a thick fog. It filled every corner of the room, making everything sinister and dangerous. He wrapped himself tightly in his blanket, covering his head, but it brought no relief. In the silence, a sound suddenly echoed, a rhythmic thumping as if a tree clumsily struck the ground. The sound drew closer, and indistinct murmuring became distinctly audible. Timmy tried to comprehend the meaning of these sounds, but they remained unintelligible and eerie. He felt their significance seeping into his subconscious, a horrifying unknown terror. The boy's consciousness, his head jolted from a sudden jolt. Horrific memories engulfed him like a curse that had haunted him for 15 years. He remembered that dreadful day when his entire world crumbled. Now he stood before the house that once belonged to his family, determined to unravel his past. Days passed in the hustle of moving and settling into the house, trying to piece together the fragments of his lost memories. He sifted through old photographs, studied the house and the surroundings, but unfortunately, success eluded him. What had happened back then? This question had tormented the young man all this time. But the answer remained elusive. And then one day, Timmy woke up in his bed. Familiar sensations washed over him, like a ghost from the past. The same atmosphere of horror enveloped him, causing a shiver inside. His heart skipped a beat, as if anticipating something dreadful. He abruptly jumped out of bed, knocking the blanket to the floor. Without hesitation, Timmy rushed out of his house, sprinting through the night towards the forest, pursued by a sense that something terrifying was chasing him. The fall was unexpected, and as he looked up, he saw a strange, old house. Restlessly, he got up and walked towards the house. The door, as if alive, opened before him. Beyond the door lay darkness. With a step, he disappeared inside the house, and the door closed behind him with a horrifying creak. Timmy woke up and saw the bright sun shining through the tree leaves. He looked around, questioning himself, was it all a dream? A vague unease settled within him, but then he heard a familiar voice of a girl. It was his sister, calling him for lunch. With a smile on his face, Timmy hurried towards the house where his father, mother, and sister awaited him. They all greeted him with smiles and joy. However, a question lingered in Timmy's heart: what was it that I dreamt? He couldn't shake off the feeling of the unsettling dream he had just experienced. It remained a mystery, leaving him with a sense of curiosity. A fire burned, and in its center stood a large cauldron. A disheveled figure with long hair was actively stirring its contents. Her deranged smile revealed sharp teeth, creating a horrifying sight. Her mouth contorted, and a raspy voice said, "You have finally returned. My boy." She took a plate and began serving herself something from the cauldron, accompanied by a gruesome slurping sound. And from her mouth, a human finger fell onto the floor. Meat should not go to waste, the figure said, picking up the lost finger from the ground. The basement filled with the sounds of crunching and slurping.